As the world develops in a faster pace like never before, there are major driver industries that actually make the world go round. Here are the global fastest growing industries. 1. Airport operations. The global airport operation industry has experienced complex operating conditions over the 5 years to 2021. Rising levels of airline passenger traffic through much of the period enabled airports to earn significant revenue through passenger charges and services provided directly to airlines. At the same time, improving economic conditions increased corporate profit and fueled global manufacturing activity, causing airlines to operate more flights to transport greater quantities of cargo. However, the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic completely disrupted the industry over 2020, causing revenue losses of more than 50.0% in that year alone. Overall, industry revenue is estimated to decrease annually. 2. Global hotels and resorts. With a revenue growth of 40.6%. Over the 5 years to 2021, the global hotels and resorts industry is anticipated to experience declining revenue. Initially, strong growth between 2016 and 2019 occurred as both consumers and businesses became more confident about their finances and spent more liberally on luxuries, including travel. This culminated in a substantial increase in both travel rates and hotel room and occupancy rates, two indicators of a hotel's performance. Global tourist arrivals were also steadily increasing between 2016 and 2019 until a drastic drop in 2020 due to the global spread of COVID-19 coronavirus. In 2020 alone, industry revenue declined 39.0%. 3. Global travel agency services. With revenue growth of 40.4%. The global travel agency services industry has experienced revenue decline over the 5 years to 2021, all while the industry's core services dramatically changed due to consumers using online channels to research and book travel. Online booking agents now play a much larger role within the industry, alongside traditional brick-and-mortar travel agencies. International tourism grew strongly prior to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, which is expected to severely cut into revenue over 2020, followed by a rebound of 35.1% in 2021 as the economy returns to normal. Overall, industry revenue is expected to shrink an annualized 3.0% to $290.5 billion. 4. Global tourism. With revenue growth of 27.4%. The global tourism industry is expected to decrease an annualized 4.3% to $1.3 trillion over the 5 years to 2021. Global tourism has performed well during most of the 5-year period, with emerging economies continuing to stimulate growth. Moreover, countries in Asia and South America have experienced robust growth in per capita income, which has enabled consumers in these regions to take overseas trips in increasing numbers. However, due to the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, industry revenue is expected to decline nearly 50.0% in 2020. The global outbreak is expected to have an enormous effect on all tourism-related industries as many. 5. Global airlines. With a revenue growth of 25.4%. Despite rising levels of airborne passenger and cargo traffic through much of the period, revenue for the global airlines industry has declined over the 5 years to 2021 as volatile fuel prices and growing competition, as well as the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, have placed downward pressure on airline ticket prices and freight shipping rates. At the same time, recent growth in global per capita income, in addition to other solid macroeconomic indicators, fueled demand for airline passenger transportation prior to the pandemic. Overall, industry revenue is estimated to decrease an annualized 8.3% to $471.8 billion over the 5 years. 6. Global casinos and online gambling. With a revenue growth of 14.9%. Over the 5 years to 2021, the center of the global casinos and online gambling industry has shifted from the United States, specifically Las Vegas and Atlantic City, to China, more specifically, Macau. A wave of recent casino openings in Macau has propelled this shift. As of 2021, there were 50 casinos located on the island. Additionally, casino openings in other parts of Asia are expected over the 5 years to 2026. 2 mega casino developments in Singapore already rival casinos in Las Vegas, and Japan recently legalized casinos, raising the potential for billions of dollars in new investment. 7. Global commercial aircraft manufacturing. With a revenue growth of 14.6%, the global commercial aircraft manufacturing industry is expected to decline over the 5 years to 2021. Industry operators design, manufacture, overhaul and rebuild planes, helicopters, aircraft engines and various aircraft components and subsystems for the commercial and civil markets. The industry primarily depends on downstream demand from airlines, which make up most major markets for operators. The global rise in disposable income levels has driven major growth in demand for air travel during most of the period, although investment in new aircraft has fallen as many airlines have been using older aircraft. Additionally, the spread of COVID-19 coronavirus has lowered. 8. Global deep-sea, coastal and inland water transportation. With a revenue growth of 12.1%. The global deep-sea, coastal and inland water transportation industry, which transports cargo and passengers across the world's waterways, has experienced strong growth over most of the 5 years to 2021. Rising global per capita income and increased production activity among the world's most developed economies have increased demand for industry services, though the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic is forecast to severely cut into demand in 2020. These strong market conditions have offset an excessive maritime carrying capacity relative to downstream demand, which has constrained international freight rates and hindered industry growth. Additionally, industry revenue has been sustained by the strong 9. Global oil and gas exploration and production. With a revenue growth of 8.1%. Operators in the global oil and gas exploration and production industry find and extract crude oil and natural gas from oil and gas reserves across the world. Over the 5 years to 2021, the prices of crude oil and natural gas have fluctuated despite steady growth in production, which has caused wild revenue fluctuations. Slowing global demand alongside continually rising supply caused prices to plummet in 2016 and 2020, although they have begun to recover in 2021. Overall, industry revenue is forecast to decline an annualized 2.2% to $2.1 trillion over the 5 years to 2021, with an expected rise. 10. Global reinsurance carriers. With a revenue growth of 8.0%. The global reinsurance carriers industry has encountered significant challenges over the 5 years to 2021. Some challenges include an operating landscape consisting of a soft pricing cycle, low interest rates, an increased occurrence of natural disasters and a global pandemic. All of these factors have contributed to the industry's poor performance. As a result, industry revenue is expected to decline at an annualized rate of 1.6% to $228.1 billion over the 5 years to 2021, including a decline of 5.5% in 2021 alone. This decrease in 2021 can be mainly attributed to the ongoing COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.